Is this how? Or is it on? Oh, okay, it's on. Okay. Hey everyone, it's me, Ronunculus. I was supposed to upload something last month, but I couldn't, and I don't know when I'll upload the thing I was supposed to upload. So I'm gonna review the Steam Deck. Hope that's alright. As many people already know, the Steam Deck is a handheld gaming PC made by the company Valve. And as someone who's been playing Valve games since like 2009, I have a lot of trust in Valve.
Valve definitely does have
They make good products. So when the Steam Deck was first announced in 2021, I was kind of interested, and admittedly a little concerned. The announcement reminded me of a time that Valve previously tried to enter the console market, and I remember that wasn't received very well.
And I guess I just can't see who it would appeal to other than tech heads with enough disposable income to toss out a random extra box that doesn't really do much under their TV. And even for them, wouldn't they just have an extra $100 then for a Windows license?
However, it's been a few years since Valve tried to make the Steam machine, and I was actually hearing some pretty good things about the Valve Index. So I was very willing to wait to see what public opinion was going to be once the Steam Deck actually released. Next thing I knew, Gabe Newell was showing up at people's doorsteps. I honest to God would be horrified. Despite some issues that were patched out that I heard about on launch, people actually really like the Steam Deck. A few years later, now I have one. I think it's actually kind of cool. At the time of me recording this, there are 3 different options to choose from when you go to buy a Steam Deck. The most notable differences between each version is the storage space and the screen. I bought the cheapest version, which was around $400 USD. It has an LCD screen and only 256 gigabytes of storage. I do also think it's worth noting that this version also has the worst battery life. But even considering all of that, I do not regret my choice in buying this thing. Considering the prices of other PC handhelds that were made to compete with the Steam Deck is still by far the most affordable option, especially when you consider what this thing is still capable of even at its cheapest price. The last handheld gaming device I ever owned was the Nintendo DSi, so when I got my hands on this thing and it started playing Spider-Man Remastered, I kind of felt like a caveman that just discovered fire. Speaking of getting my hands on things, why the fuck did I say that? The controller that I normally use when I'm gaming at my desk is the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller. It's a controller that I honestly really like. But after using the Steam Deck for a while, and then going back to the PS5 controller, I don't know why, I just felt wrong. I've caught myself a few times just playing with the Steam Deck, and it's not even turned on. I just like fidgeting with it. I specifically can't stop clicking the 4 buttons on the back of the Steam Deck constantly. So as a controller, at least for me, it's very satisfying to use. It's also probably even more satisfying for me as a fidget toy. My only real issues with it are the R1 and L1 buttons aren't as satisfying as I'd like them to be, and I wish there were more use cases for the trackpads. Now, actually turning on the console, my first time, I actually struggled a little bit. For some reason, my Steam Deck did not want to connect to my Wi-Fi. Admittedly, I do not have good Wi-Fi by any means. However, a friend of mine who also got a Steam Deck just a little bit before I did also was having problems connecting their Steam Deck to their Wi-Fi. I don't know exactly how long it took, but I believe it was close to an hour before I was even able to log into Steam. But after dealing with that and then waiting for system updates to finish, I've almost had really no issues since. The only issues I've really had since the startup process was figuring out which games actually properly run on the console, and probably not for the reasons you would expect. Steam actually tells you which games are verified to run on the Steam Deck. Steam also tells you which games you cannot run on the Steam Deck. My issue arises with the games that Steam marks as just playable. Playable means the Steam Deck can run the game, but it might have some issues. However, some of the things that Steam considers to be issues don't really tend to be that big of a problem, at least not for me. For example, a game will be able to run perfectly fine on the Steam Deck, but if it makes you use the on-screen keyboard even once, it'll be marked as just playable. But when I went to go play Psychonauts on my Steam Deck, I was having an issue where the camera just wouldn't stop spinning. And none of the reasons that Steam gives you as to why this game is only marked playable explain why that was happening. So it can be kind of tricky to determine which games are going to run well when they're just marked as playable. Now, when it actually comes to playing games on the Steam Deck, most things have actually ran decently well for me. Apart from what I mentioned earlier about Psychonauts, most problems I was running into were just really small, minor visual glitches that didn't really make any impact on my experience. And even some bigger titles, granted on medium graphics quality, were still running really well on there. Just don't expect many games to go past 30 FPS. For me personally, that really hasn't been that big of an issue, since most of the games I play anyway, frame rate isn't a factor that matters that badly. Though if you were to be playing a multiplayer shooter on the Steam Deck, that is something I recommend that you try to keep in mind. I also recommend that if you plan on traveling with your Steam Deck, always have a charger on hand, especially if you have the 40 watt-hour battery like I do and you plan on playing AAA high-end games. I have had moments where my Steam Deck was fully charged, I started playing a game for maybe 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden the console was at 50%. I do believe there are ways to preserve battery life without sacrificing too much performance, but as of right now, I don't know how to do that.
I'm kinda stupid, and I don't want to look at tutorials.
Despite the issues I mentioned earlier, I still believe the Steam Deck is really good. It's really nice being able to get to choose where I play some of these games when usually I'm just tied to my desk when I get to play them. It's actually led to me playing some of the games that I've been meaning to get to for a very long time now. For example, I've been trying to replay Batman Arkham City since forever, and now that I have the Steam Deck, I'm actually making pretty good progress at getting through it. I'm also planning on traveling by train soon, so having this with me will surely help a lot. It's almost 20 hours to get where I'm going, so all in all, I think if you can afford it, you should probably definitely get a Steam Deck. If you're looking to play most of your Steam library on the go, you're going to get a lot of mileage out of this. And again, considering the prices of other handheld gaming PCs, the Steam Deck is considerably really affordable. So, if this appeals to you, buy it.
By the way, if you're wondering why I'm filming in this random empty car lot, it's to show you that the Steam Deck